Scrapey scrape here. You know, how do I turn a box of cake mix into a creamy and decadent dessert? Betty Crocker's answer? German chocolate treats. I'm Melinda and I'm cooking my way through Betty Crocker's 1971 recipe card library. And today we're making German chocolate treats. German chocolate treats is from section I, Dessert Spectaculars, and it's card number 10. There's 2 recipes on the back of this card. Today I'm focused on the brownie cheesecake recipe. One of my viewers, Anne, recommended this to me, so I'm excited to give it a try. Basically, you are using German chocolate cake mix from a box to make a brownie layer that is the base of a cheesecake. So that has some coconut in it, some butter and egg, and then the cheesecake is a pretty standard cheesecake recipe, I would presume. You know, you have your cream cheese, egg, sugar, vanilla. I've actually never made cheesecake before, so this will be my first time. But then what I find interesting is that then there's a layer of sour cream on top of the cheesecake. I've never seen that before, but could be tasty. So let's give it a try. All right, today I have an assistant in the kitchen, old Big Red here. I think she's gonna make this cheesecake come together real fast. So the first step is to heat the oven at 350. I did that. In a large mixer bowl right here, we're blending the cake mix, coconut, butter, and 1 egg on low speed. So we're starting with the cake mix, going in. Coconut, got a 1/2 cup of coconut here. 1 egg, and 1/3 cup of softened butter. All right, let's let her rip slowly. Okay, maybe I should have put the egg in first, the butter in first, because the butter doesn't really seem to be combining. I should have put the butter in first. Okay, you're gonna be soft enough. I just need you to get in the mix, okay? Get in the mix. The butter still doesn't want to get involved. But you know what? Here's what I'm thinking. This is supposed to be like a crumb topping, right? I just kind of clump it with my fingers. Oh yeah, that was not soft enough. Oopsie, sorry. Just make sure the butter's nice and broken up, but I think doing that little handiwork might have helped a lot. Okay, that looks right. That looks crumbly. That's what she said we wanted, crumbly. All right, she says to press the mixture lightly into the bottom of an ungreased, doing it ungreased, 13 by 8 by 2 inch pan. So that's kind of what I have here. It's the closest measurement I could find. Interesting, interesting. Doesn't feel wet enough, but here we are. We're spreading, patting lightly. All right, now that our base is prepared, we're gonna work on the cheesecake layer. So we have 2 boxes of Philadelphia cream cheese that we're gonna go ahead and put back in the mixing bowl. 1. Get out of there. Oh my God, I'm so glad I read this tip. Tip number 1, blending cream cheese in dessert recipes. When blending cream cheese in dessert recipes, make sure the cream cheese and sugar are completely blended, free of lumps and smooth before adding any other ingredients. If the cream cheese is too cold, it will not blend easily. Betty, she told me to beat cream cheese, 2 eggs, sugar, and vanilla until smooth and fluffy. You know I was gonna put all that stuff in there at the same time. I'm glad Philadelphia told me the right way to do it, which is to just do the sugar first. So we're gonna do the cream cheese and the sugar first. Wow, I'm so glad I read those tips. I've literally never read what's inside here. I didn't even realize they put text inside here. Okay, let's go putting the sugar in. Let's go. completely blended to me. Scrapey scrape here. You know, I got this Betty Crocker branded spatula at the dollar store, and it's not the toughest. Now I'm gonna do the 2 eggs and the vanilla. Okay, that looks like something. See, I've never made a cheesecake before. I don't know what it's supposed to look like. I'm still seeing some not beaten areas. Let's give it one more spin, because there's a couple chunky chunks in there. All right, now we're gonna take our cheesecake layer and spread it over our base layer. You know, it still has some clumps, but that will add kind of texture, right? It'll add, you know, variety to your bite. We're spreading, we're spreading. I love these recipes where you're instructed to use a Betty Crocker cake mix but not to make a cake. I just think it's so interesting that you can use it in other ways. I've been reading this book called Something from the Oven by Laura Shapiro, and she talks about how there's actually a lot of like reluctance for people to use box cake mix. They thought, you know, cooking is supposed to be a work, a labor of love, and if you like just use box cake mix, like it's not gonna feel like it's coming from the heart, it's gonna feel like you cheated, like it's cheap. And so General Mills and a lot of other companies did a lot of marketing work to try to like prove to housewives that you could take their base ingredients, their convenience products, and make your own things with them. That you don't have to just use it to make a cake, you can use it as like one time saving step in like a homemade experience. So something like this where like I am saving time by using the cake mix instead of like pre-measuring my own powdered chocolate and flour and yada yada yada, but I'm still making something from scratch with it and adding other stuff to it. I think that was really smart of General Mills to kind of pivot to be like, you can use this stuff other than for cakes, you know? This isn't as much cream cheese as I thought I'd have. Like it's almost the same thickness as the other layer, and it looks like it's double the thickness in the photo. Okay, great. We did it. This is gonna go in the oven at 350 for about 20 to 25 minutes. While our cheesecake is in the oven, I thought I could talk a little bit about the history of German chocolate cake. So our cheesecake we're making today is kind of a riff off of German chocolate cake, which traditionally has coconut and pecans in the frosting, and ours just has the coconut component in the base layer. I don't know why we dropped pecans from our recipe, but that's okay. But I thought the origin of German chocolate cake is actually really fascinating. Contrary to what many people believe, it did not originate in Germany. It is a completely American invention. In 1852, Samuel German, who worked for Baker's Chocolate Company, created a new type of dark chocolate. It was kind of a sweeter baking chocolate, which incorporated more sugar than your traditional baking chocolate does. And so they called it German's sweet chocolate after him. Flash forward 100 years later, in 1957, the Dallas Morning News published a cake recipe by a Texas homemaker named Mrs. Georgia Clay. She called her unique recipe German's chocolate cake because she used that brand of sweeter chocolate, the German's chocolate. And then at that time, General Foods, who owned the Baker's Chocolate Company, noticed the recipe and decided to distribute it all across the country in a variety of newspapers and magazines. And many publications just happened to drop the apostrophe S when they published it. So instead of calling it German's chocolate cake, they just called it German chocolate cake, and the name stuck. All right, the final step, the third layer, is the sour cream layer. So we're gonna take 2 cups of sour cream, also known as a pint, and get that in the mixer. Again, I've never had cheesecake with sour cream on top. Comment below if you have. Maybe it's a more traditional thing than I think it is. Then we have a tablespoon of vanilla going in and a 1/4 cup of sugar. And we'll crank this one last time. All right, I mixed that until smooth. That looks pretty smooth to me. I don't know about sour cream and sugar. I don't know about that. We're gonna try it. Maybe it'll be great. I don't know. All right, once the cake comes out of the oven, we'll spread that on top. All right, the cheesecake is out of the oven. I ended up baking it about 10 minutes longer than the recipe said to. There was no instructions on the recipe for like how to tell when a cheesecake is done. So I did a little Google search, and I guess you're supposed to look for not a ripple, but a jiggle. So I can't really tell the difference, but it does feel just like it has a slight jiggle to it. And I think that means it's done. So it's cooled a little bit since I pulled it out of the oven because I didn't want to put like this cold sour cream on like a piping hot cheesecake. But let's go ahead and just glop it on. Kind of weird. Okay. We're smoothing, we're smoothing. Wow, the movement that is occurring is a bit suspicious. All right, now it is going to refrigerate for at least 8 hours. We'll be back tomorrow to give it a taste. All right, it's the next day and our cheesecake has cooled overnight. It's hopefully nice and set. I have a really sharp, hot knife here because I've been told that if you heat a knife up, it'll slice things easier. So I'm trying to get a perfect little cut out of the corner here. So let's just dig in. Let's give this cheesecake a try. Ooh, I'm nervous. Oh yeah. Okay. Things have already gone wrong. It's hard to get through the bottom layer here. I mean, that is giving cheesecake texture, what I see under there. So, is this too big to scoop it out? Let's try a smaller instrument. Okay, it's coming out, kind of. Oh no. The first scoop is always the worst. Well, I think additional cuts out of here are gonna be great. You just have to get that corner out. You have to take one for the team and get the corner out and just understand that it's gonna be a bit messy. But I mean, you could see in here, maybe, that there is a nice balance of the 3 layers, which I was a little worried about. So I think second platings will hopefully come out cleaner than this did, but you know what? It all tastes the same, right? So let's give it a try. Make sure to get some cheesecake, some of the crumbly bottom, the sour cream topping that I'm confused by. Oh my gosh, I made cheesecake. Wow, this tastes so good. This tastes like cheesecake. This tastes like cheesecake. Weirded out by the sour cream layer. I think it adds a nice tang. Let me try some of this bottom German chocolate cake layer. I am feeling the texture of the coconut, which I like. Yeah, it's like a hint of chocolate, but not super chocolatey, which I guess is the German chocolate element. Wow. Okay, I could eat a lot of this. Uh-oh. And the 3 layers work together really well. It's like the creamy top layer, the crunchy bottom layer, sweet, tangy, chocolatey, but not overwhelming. The coconut is kind of like subtle throughout. Very good, very good. All right, German chocolate treats. This brownie cheesecake turned out incredible. I really didn't think I had it in me to make a cheesecake from scratch, but it was so easy. I don't know why I haven't been making cheesecakes this whole time. It tasted so good, so creamy, so perfectly sweet, not too overpowering. I feel like it really is decadent, but it's not overwhelming. I was worried about using the boxed mix to make the bottom layer. I thought it might turn out powdery or something because it didn't have a lot of moisture to it, just the egg and the butter, but it turned out really great. It like really does taste like the bottom of a cheesecake. So that's an awesome hack to know for the future for other types of cheesecakes. I think this was just amazing. I have nothing bad to say about it. It tasted so good. And as you can see, the presentation turned out nicer when I did the second cut. Nice and square. So overall, I think I have to give this a 5 out of 5 red spoons. Okay, back in the box. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out another decadent chocolate treat I've made. It's called Angel Food Waldorf. I'll put the video link over here. It's literally the best cake I've ever made. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you aren't already, and until next time, happy homemaking.